Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the We the Locals podcast. My name is Josie.
I'm Jessica.
And we are so excited to have you here tonight. And we have Stu pushing the buttons in the back. Say hi, Stu.
Hello.
He says hello. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you could please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to this episode, we'd really appreciate it. It'd help us grow our channel. If you would like to help sponsor our episodes, you can do that either by donating on our website, or if you are a business or a candidate and would like to do a monthly sponsorship, you can find all that information out on our website as well. We are unfortunately not live. We are pre-recorded. We are recording on Wednesday, the 21st. So here we go. There's no editing. The only editing is to add music.
I put the little thing on the bottom of the screen.
The thing on the bottom of the screen.
That says our website.
And that's it. No jump cuts, no cutting out our cursing.
Hey, I have been putting in like maps and things like that. So as we talk.
So this is working, doing the pre-recording episodes.
Yeah, so it's like you can actually see like if there's a district we're talking about. I threw up.
Hey, I like that. We love your feedback. So if you like what we're doing, please let us know. It's obviously we can't do live feedback, but you can email us, and Jessica will give all of those email addresses and all that at the end of the show.
Absolutely.
So let's get into it. We are in 2026 season. We are in full blown. I almost said primaries. Primaries, yes, but municipal elections, because vote by mail ballots are going to start dropping.
First week of February.
First week of February. 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah. So this thing's going to start taking off real fast.
March 10th is municipal elections. There's no early voting. Vote by mails, like we said, go out first.
There is early voting in District 87.
Oh, for the special election.
So if an election is a state seat, then they do have early voting. So because that's a special election, that one does have early voting, but the rest of them do not.
Yeah, that's a good point. So that's a very good point.
If you are in a municipality that also is in that district, then you will also have early voting. Everyone else just March 10th, or vote by mail.
Yes.
So we have to vote in person on election day.
Yes, you can.
I think that's what I'm going to do this year.
Yeah, I tried that and I failed this last special election. So it is what it is. Anyway, so there's lots going on. However, I have not been able to keep up with any of our municipals. Is like what's going on, like as far as like their meetings.
Yeah, I have not had a chance.
Last week I was in Tallahassee all week for Palm Beach County Days.
Tell us about Tallahassee, Jessica.
Yeah, so got to spend the week, we were there Monday through Thursday. Got to experience Palm Beach County Days, and this is my third year. I have so much fun and learned so much. We started with a Senate tour. So I got to tour the Senate. Senate president came in and spoke to us, and that was really cool. And then got to take our little pictures behind, on the dais and all of that kind of stuff.
Was the gavel there?
You know what? I didn't even pay attention if the gavel was there or not.
I want the gavel. Just kidding. I'm not running for anything. Not Senate president.
Yeah. So we got to sit in on some session. So we got to see that, and had some great meetings. We met with Blaise Ngolia, the CFO.
Who is CFO? Mm-hmm.
And he is kicking butt and taking names. He is, as the CFO, they have he has 8,000 different job titles or something that he is in charge of in that position. And I forgot to bring it with me, but I got a little challenge coin from his office, and it says FAFO on it.
Fun.
And then it has the alligator with the money bags.
Yeah, because he's on the Doge mission. And he's going around to all the counties and auditing all the counties and saying, here's where here's what's going on. He's not giving too many details. I think to the people, I think a lot of it's going to the administration where they're be like, you need to cut, you need to cut, you need to cut, you need to cut.
Yeah.
So
we actually spoke to him for quite a bit. And then another meeting that we had was with Chair Toby Overdorf. He's the chair of the committee about doing away with property tax. And so
did you get to talk to him?
Yes. We talked.
Let's go.
We talked to him for quite a while. And he basically said that this is something that's definitely going to happen this session. How it's going to happen is still yet to be determined. Mm-hmm. And it will probably have to be tweaked in the future.
So what's the plan?
So is what it looks like is what is favored is a phase out.
Okay.
Is what they seem to be favoring on both the House and the Senate side. And, he said, because I brought up the fact of, I'm like, can we make adjustments to the tourism tax to make it so that it can include infrastructure? I'm like, this is such, he's like, that's actually a great idea. Not that I came up with it, I don't think. He was like, there's something that we've, tried to consider because of the fact that when you have ad valorem taxes, it can only go to so many categories within your tax structure.
Which is why, and we've said this before, everyone keeps saying, oh, well, let's just increase sales tax to cover the deficit for things like police and fire and stuff like that, but that's not how it works.
Right.
Ad valorem taxes go to pay for things like police, fire, and roads. Sales taxes go to pay for things that are specific to industry in the county or in the state. So you can't use sales tax money. You can't use tourist tax money. You can't use bed tax money that's collected by hotels or Airbnbs to pay for the police and the fire. It's not how it works unless the legislature changes that. But currently it's not. So it's not that simple to just say, oh, let's just you do that. It's not like that.
I mean, I don't think it's the first time you heard it, but I was like, tourists come, they use our roads, they use they use things we pay for. So why don't we, have an opportunity to use those funds to improve and to help clear that deficit. And so he loved talking with us. He said, anytime, he's like, he'll come to a meeting and talk, like he doesn't care. He just wants to get as much information out as possible and that and get as many ideas as possible because they're talking about this in committee and they're trying to hash this out and they don't have all the answers. They're just trying, they're trying to see what's going to work best for all 67 counties in the state. And and then it's like you have some cities that don't have that only have ad valorem tax. They don't have commercial property. Parkland is a good example of this. Parkland does not have any business tax or commercial properties. It's all pretty much homesteaded properties. So it's like Parkland, which is a high
very expensive city,
right? And now all of a sudden you're going to basically make them destitute because they're going to have no money.
Yeah.
Because if you get rid of ad valorem taxes, how are they going to run their city? So
what did he say?
So, we just kind of talked about how we didn't talk about Parkland directly in that meeting, but he was like, he goes, we understand some cities and counties are going to struggle way more than others. And, how they're going to be able to chase that revenue, but also at the same time, watch their budget. And I think it was Commissioner Woodward kind of talked about this back in November or December, where she was like, well, you're basically telling us that we're going to take it out of ad valorem, but yet here's all these ways that you can increase fees and bring more money into the county.
So people are still going to be paying it.
Correct. So it's like instead of out of the, your right pocket, you're going to pay it out of the left pocket now.
That's how the government works. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Right. And
that's literally how this works.
So, and then I was talking with someone and, when I came back from Tallahassee and I was like, oh, they're like, oh, I haven't talked to you, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just got from Tallahassee. And, they were like, oh, what were you doing in Tallahassee? I'm like, it's legislative session and we're talking and, I'm like, and he's like, oh, I hear we're getting rid of property taxes, And this is somebody that doesn't follow politics and stuff too well. And he's like, oh, I heard we're getting rid of property taxes. I said, well, yeah. He goes, well, I'd like to save a few $1,000s. I'm like, just to be clear, this is only your ad valorem taxes.
Correct.
And he's like, what is that? He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, your school board is about 58% of your tax bill. Oh my God. He says, he's like, I had no idea. I said, yes. I said, you need to read the line items before you pay the bill. I said, because your special testing districts on there, your health, healthcare,
children's services.
Yeah. Libraries. I'm like, you're going to still you're still going to have
your
a
fire tax.
Yeah. I'm like, you're still going to have a tax bill, and the biggest chunk of your bill is still going to be there. I'm like, when you look in all reality, I think we've mentioned this before, the average homeowner is going to save about $400 a year. So not that nobody, everybody'd like an extra $400 in their pocket.
But it fits at the expense of not being able to dial 911 and know that a police officer is going to arrive because there was budget cuts.
Exactly. And all of the bills that have come through have made it very clear that those services cannot be cut.
So again, we keep coming back to the same question, and then what? But you're literally, it's like, okay, everyone knows that I'm Jewish, and we studied the Torah portion, and the last couple of weeks we're in Exodus, and which is the Torah portion is the first 5 books of the Bible divided up, and we read a portion of it every week. And so the last couple of weeks we're in Exodus, which we're talking about Moses going before Pharaoh and saying, let my people go. First time he does that, Pharaoh goes, no, and not only will I not let your people go, they're going to now have to make bricks without straw and gather their own straw. This is literally what they're telling us to do. No, you cannot cut the police department. You still have to pay, but we're not going to give you the ability to get the money to pay for it. You're going to have to come up with it and go search for it yourself.
Yep.
It's literally what's happening.
Yep. And
my favorite analogy I think I've ever done. No,
yeah, no, that's great. And then it's like, and then you have, the Doge component on it, that there's a lot of, administrative costs, and governments have gotten bigger, especially since COVID. And so it's like, you have to find that middle. And then what happened is so much money came in through COVID that now it's like, these are, cities and counties have kind of become dependent on it, and now a lot of that money goes
part
away.
Of their budget,
right? And so that's affecting the transportation authority as well, because they had COVID money for a while, and now that COVID money isn't going to be there anymore, and so that's on top of an already shortfall. So it's like, it's like, yes, the COVID money was there, government increased, whatever, but also, costs increase, especially on construction. And that's a big thing that the government does, so it's like, when you look at those infrastructure costs and the increase of materials, like all of that money's got to come from somewhere. And when you look at Palm Beach County, because we pay for the project before we break ground, which is a big chunk of our budget too, that a lot of people don't know, is that, because it's like we pay for the, so it's like we have a contract to build something. Let's say it's a $10 million building. We have to have the $10 million in reserves in order to break ground and to start that project. Well, it could take a couple years for that money to hit, and so then that $10 million building is now $11 million because
$15 million.
Or I was trying to be generous. I was trying to be nice.
But like that's how it's gone.
Yeah,
like it's doubled
yeah.
in some things.
Yeah.
In construction, and exactly. Now all of a sudden they don't have the money anymore, and the building gets delayed.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like there's problems, but it's like also at the same time is that we have to find solutions, but not anyone is really having any good answers, because there's always, once the and then what question gets asked, then they're like, oh, wait a minute, we can't do that. And then it's like, oh, that's good for Palm Beach County, but, so-and-so county.
Which is one reason I really and truly believe that we still have property taxes. We still have these things because of comes full circle of we need this money. This is part of living. Like taxes have been a part of, we're studying Roman history. We're studying ancient Rome right now. Taxes. Why taxes? To pay for things that everyone uses. Like that's part of living in society. So everyone hates it, but there has never been another solution that has actually worked, that has been brought forward, that I can think of, that has been able to pay for things that in a way that will not disrupt completely
I mean,
society.
Right. I mean, it's based on home value, right? If you take that out of the equation and you were to just send every resident a bill based on, the services that need to provide, would they pay it? So let's say you live in Boca Raton.
Well, I have to think this through for a second.
You live in Boca Raton and the city decides that every house, every residence should owe, $1,000 a year in tax, $1,000 for the services that the city provides. The city sends you a bill that's not tied to your property. Do you pay the bill?
I don't know. I mean, I would pay the bill.
Right.
But would anyone else? What's the consequence if you don't pay the bill?
Right. Interest fees, like they can't take your house, but what can they, stop?
Does it become like a credit card where it goes to like collections?
I don't see.
It's tied to your credit score?
I don't know. But it's like,
interesting thought. What do you think, audience?
So
poll the audience.
There you go.
Would you pay the bill? Drop us a note. Tell us.
So it's like, that's the only other thing I could think of is it's like, okay, you have these services. If it's not tied to your property tax, how do you pay for these services?
I heard Tim Pool float an idea one time, and I thought it was interesting. I don't love it, but I thought it was interesting. Was you have like corporate sponsors of like roads. So it's like this road is paid for by Coca-Cola. This road is paid for, and they pay for it, and then they get to advertise the bejesus out of it. On it. And I found that is an interesting thought.
Every 2 feet there'd be a Coca-Cola sign or something?
Yeah, if they want to. It's their stretch of road. As long as it's to the standard that is required in order for them to be the sponsor, like they maintain the road, they keep the road nice and neat, they can advertise on the road. And so, like, think about it. Let's just play this hypothesis out for a second. Again, I'm not saying I support this. Let me preface this. It's just an idea that he came up with that I was like, that's interesting. So let's say you have corporate sponsors of the fire department. What do you put all over the sides of the fire department? Instead of it saying the Boca Raton Fire Department, what would be on the side? Publix sponsor fire department, brought to you by Publix.
I don't know.
I know. It's an interesting thought.
Because,
it was interesting.
the only thing is that, like, the road wouldn't be that big of a deal because there's no, like, nobody owns the road as far as, like, there's not an individual where it's like if it's a fire department and it's brought in like, Publix kind of owns the fire department. Then at that point,
no, it would be like they just have one truck. They don't own the fire department.
No, I get that. But also at the same time, like you look at the corporate cronies that are like,
right, exactly. Well, then that's what you get to. You get to like corporate capitalism. That's the bad thing. Right. I'm just kidding. I support capitalism to the nth degree.
My thing is too is like what I don't like about doing away with ad valorem taxes is the fact that if you have your businesses that are paying all of the taxes, then that kind of gives them more authority and more pull in general. Yeah. So it's like, so then you're taking away homeowners' rights because they're not paying anything in.
Yeah. If you're not paying anything into the system, then you often don't care.
The commercial portion is paying all of it. Then the commercial portion is going to want more of a say.
And they're going to want more land. And if a parcel of land goes up for sale, that could be put into homes or into commercial. Homes are not going to make the city any money. The commercial is going to make the city the money. And so they're going to put commercial property there.
And your planning and zoning departments and stuff are going to be less likely to do residential homes.
That's what I just...
Because of the fact that this isn't going to get us any income. So, but a commercial property comes in, we'll be able to
millions of dollars
get income into the city.
Yeah, I don't really like it. I think we should have to pay something. I do think that taxes need to be addressed. I think they need to be... I think a cap would be good. A cap on... almost a cap on a dollar amount. Like I would like to see, like if you live in your house if you're homesteading in your property for a certain amount of time, let's say it's 5 years, and whatever you were capped at 5 years, that's it. Yeah. Like you're not going to pay more. So even if the value of your property goes up, you're not paying more every year after that. You're capped. It does not go up any higher. And I know that's similar to how homestead is now, but it would be.
One of the popular bills has it where also because there's like 3 or 4 that are getting some traction. So one of them is like you have the 3% homestead increase every year, is to make that it can over 3 years. So it's like 1% each year, but it's not a 1% each year. It's on the 3rd year you get the 3%. So it doesn't go up, it doesn't go up.
But then it goes up a chunk.
And then it goes up. And then the other one is the 10% where the commercial properties pay, it's up to 10%.
I like the 3%. I like the 3% because then we're still paying.
Yeah.
There's still property taxes. So you still have a say. Like, again, if you say, that's a huge thing is if you're not paying into your system, into your city, I pay taxes to live in the city of Boca. Like, so then why would I want to live in Boca if I don't get the services? So if services go away because they can't, like, then what makes me choosing to live in a place you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a value to it. And I then have a say in how the money in the city is being spent. If I'm not putting any money into it, then why do I get a say? Why do I get the right to go in front of the city council and say, I don't like what you're doing? Right. Because at that point, they don't owe me anything.
Right. And you're not paying their salaries anymore.
I'm not paying their salary anymore. They don't work for me anymore.
Right.
They work for the corporations.
That's my point.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
And so...
For whoever hears this, not a fan. For what it's worth, I have spoken, so let it be written, so let it be done.
And so, you have your counties and your cities that are totally against this, for reasons of the fact that they'd have to restructure their budget and everything else. I heard Delray's, their ad valorem portion of their budget is 18%. I don't know what it is in Boca.
I don't know. I'd have to look.
I can find out. It's interesting because it's like, in Palm Beach County, it's like 23%. It's less than 24. It's like 23 point something. And so it's less than 24% of the overall budget. And, that's my biggest thing is it's like, well, we own our government because we pay into the fees, we pay the fees that make the government run, but yet it's still only this small little portion. And then if you take that small little portion away, what benefit is it to us to live here? Like, do we still have a say? And then there's, does the person that only lives here 1 month out of the year have the same say as somebody that lives here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 365 days a year, so it's like, and I don't think a lot of people are even taking that part into consideration.
People only hear property taxes go away. Yes, please. They don't. There's no people. We've been harping on this podcast for years about how the government needs to ask the and then what question, but people need to ask the and then what question, and then what happens if this happens.
Yeah.
We don't actually have a model for it. Is there a model? Is there anywhere in the country where nobody pays property taxes? We've seen it work. So we're going to be the test case. A state of 21 million people with a revenue budget of like off the roof. Yeah. We're going to be the test case.
And this is something that's going to go to the ballot and it's going to pass because nobody's going to want to pay it. And then they're going to get upset that they still get a tax bill.
Right. Well, then they're going to get upset when they go before their city council and complain. And the city council goes, you don't pay our bills.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah, besides the vote, that's the only leverage that we have is our vote to get them in or get them out of office. And so, people would really have to pay attention to understand what's going on in their local governments. Boca has 12 candidates running.
Golly.
12.
We went from no candidates to 12 candidates, which pisses me off.
And it's like,
Sorry.
And then
Where
it's like
were you all?
You have all over the spectrum too of the type of candidates that they are.
They're kind of falling into 2 categories, really. Maybe a little bit of spectrum.
The sane ones and the not sane ones?
Yes. People who understand what's happening and people who don't. There's a couple who are kind of in the middle, I think, that are just bopping along for the fun of it.
That have no intention of really getting elected.
I
didn't see Bernie Corn on the list.
He's on the list. He's running against Kristen Ritchie.
Oh.
And then Michelle Grau.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Bernie Corn's there. He's running for C-Day. Oh, Bernie.
You can always count on him.
Yeah, always count on him for a good time in Boca. For a good time in Boca. Call Bernie Corn.
And then there's 3 candidates in the open seat for Rob Long's seat in Delray. We got to hear from Andrea Kaiser, who's running for that seat yesterday at the South Region meeting. And she was the one that actually mentioned that the ad valorem taxes for Delray was 18%. It was great to hear her. I highly suggest checking her out. She was so articulate and she was so smart. It was like just like a breath of fresh air. Like, this is what we need. And especially in Delray, because it's getting a little crazy. I did hear a little bit. So they had a candidate forum. I believe I announced it on the last show that it was Delray Matters, which is also like it's called The Set. So they had their candidate forum, and they were bombarded with questions about ICE. All night long.
So they can't do any. The city council has nothing to do with
So here
ICE.
these candidates are, and like I said, there's 3 of them. There's 2 Democrats and a Republican, and the questions were all centered around, like should they allow ICE into Delray?
They can't stop ICE.
All of that kind of
federal.
stuff. So,
they can't do anything.
yeah.
About
So it's like they can't do anything about it, but yet. Because this is a hot topic button, this happens all the time, and we complain about it about Palm Beach County.
Ad nauseum.
That like people expect our county commissioners to solve federal problems, and that just
apparently our city council.
Yeah, so I'm like, this can't happen, and it doesn't make any sense. So it just shows that like voters are starting to pay attention. But they're not understanding the separation of powers and what,
They haven't, which is how we've ended up with such terrible local governance for so long.
Right. And why it's kind of that's why also it's, if you get somebody who's good, to make sure that they stay in office, because it takes them a year or 2, sometimes 3, to get their feet wet and to understand what their power is and what they're able to do in that position. And then they have to get support. They have to get buy-in from whether it's a city council, county commission, or, at the House or Senate level. And so many of our voters want yelling and screaming to happen between Republicans and Democrats. Mm-hmm. And you go up to session in Tallahassee, and it's almost like a breath of fresh air sometimes, because it's like you see the people, get together on the Senate floor, the House floor, and it's Democrats and Republicans talking with each other, and they're civil to each other. And even though they may take their little jabs or whatever once they get on the microphone, but generally they respect each other as peers, and that they were put there by the people to represent the people as a whole. And I think that the more that voters are uneducated, and I'm pushing this big this year, especially into the primaries and into getting into the November election, because our primary, nobody understands the primary process. And so just so everybody understands, the Republican Party doesn't get involved in primaries, and a lot of people don't know that. So the Republican Party itself does not get involved in primaries or necessarily nonpartisan races. But is what the party does is it gets out the vote. It tells their voters that there's an election and when and how and where to vote. That's the big part of the party. And so
how to vote, meaning vote by mail, vote early voting, or how you can vote, not how to vote on who to vote for, just to give that clarification.
If there's only one Republican running, then there's no primary. They will be
advised that there's no primary. But if there's Republicans running in a nonpartisan, the Republican Party will let you know if someone is a Republican in a nonpartisan race.
Yes,
they'll say these are the Republican candidates that are in this race.
Yes,
you choose which one you want.
Correct. It is the voter's job to vet the candidate and vote for the best one. Now, I was very naive, and maybe we've talked about this on episodes before, but it's like I was very naive when it came to the primary process, because I was an NPA for a very long time. I don't think I changed my party affiliation until 2016. So I thought... silly me, was like, I'm just going to vote for the best candidate in November because the parties should be able to decide who their best candidate is.
I hear this all the time from people who are not involved in politics but do vote in general elections. Is they were like, I don't know enough to make a decision. I'll let people who know more than me make the decision, and then I will trust them and vote for that in the general.
Don't do that.
Please don't stop doing that. Please don't rely on me and my very limited time to do all of the research for you to do that. It's not that complicated. You can take an hour to. I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a slight rant. If you can name who's in the Super Bowl or who's in the playoffs this year, if you can name the stats of your football team, if you can name the stats of a hockey team, if you can name the stats or who's in the Super Bowl or not the Super Bowl, the Rose Bowl or whatever all the bowls are of all the sports things, then you should know who is running for office and if you should vote for them or not. The same amount, if you take 5 minutes away from the time, and I know a lot of people are not sports fans, and there are people who are like, I don't have time for that either, and I get that. But it makes me cuckoo bananas when I hear people say, I don't have time to research politics, and then they'll spend an hour discussing the injuries on their fantasy football team. Makes me want to rip my hair out. Go for it. I'm not saying I like football. Go Broncos. Let's go. We're going all the way to the Super Bowl this year, and we're going to take it. Shut up, Stu. I know. I'm aware. I'm fully aware of that. That being said, so it can't be an and thing. Take an hour, look at all of the candidates, come up with the 3 questions that are most important to you about your community, call the candidates and ask them your questions. And if they don't answer, cross them off your list.
Yeah.
There you go.
And plus, candidates spend a lot of time and money trying to reach you. And most of the time, you do not answer your phone and you do not answer your door. So how are you going to hear from the candidates and understand? So this is why, like our last episode, I know, said that there was a couple candidate forums. It's really important to hear from the candidates and understand, do they know what the answer, do they know what the issues are? Where do they stand on things? And all of them are going to tell you that they want to do away with taxes. All of them are going to tell you that. But what are they going to do with the budget once taxes go away is the question. Mm-hmm. So it's like, how are these, have they looked at the budget? Is it going, getting rid of ad valorem? How is it going to affect
What's the percentage of ad valorem taxes of the budget?
Correct. So these are things that candidates should kind of know and be aware of and be able to answer these questions. Now, there's some things that they're going to be like, well, I don't have access, or that's not public information, or I'd have to do a public, records request. And, I may not have those, I don't have all the information till I get in the seat, but it's not like a Nancy Pelosi pass it, then you can read it. It's, like, are they paying attention to what's going on right now and what's important to, you, the voters? Because this is where you're the HR director and you're checking to see who is the best person for the job. Yep. And don't leave that up to party radicals. We're
not radicals.
Right. So, thankfully. But though, we're rhinos, so I don't know.
Oh, we are? Oh, that's right.
I get called that all the time.
I should get a shirt with a rhinoceros on it to wear to the next REC meeting, just to troll people. You think they'll get it?
Yeah, so speaking of the REC, so there was an REC meeting on Wednesday, and I wasn't able to go because I was in Tallahassee, but I wasn't doing anything fun. I did hear about the mayhem and chaos that happened in that meeting, and a motion was passed, and I'm not going to mention the motion just because of the fact that I don't want to air party business, but also at the same time, closed party business. But also at the same time is that it wasn't a valid motion. The motion will not stand. It cannot happen. It will not continue. So those that think they won on this motion, they didn't do anything but just cause a bunch of people to resign because they were yelling and screaming and there was no decorum.
Oh, so it sounds like we missed a doozy.
Yeah, it was probably a good one to miss.
You know what? I'm probably glad. Yeah, because my blood pressure it's starting to normalize.
I can't handle the drama.
I can't either, and it's such a waste. Again, I've mentioned this. I'll just said this before. I give up a lot in order to do politics that is mostly for free, and to be a part of what's going on. I give up time with my kids, putting my kids to bed, having time with my husband, downtime, sanity time, all these things to schlep my butt up to West Palm to sit through a meeting where everyone's yelling and screaming at each other and nothing gets done because nobody knows the rules, nobody knows decorum, nobody knows how to do anything, and it's just a freaking waste of time. And so I'm sorry that I missed that meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm not sorry. I'll be at the next one though.
So my understanding is there's about 20 to 30 people in our local REC that are just kind of causing problems instead of finding solutions. And it's
just a waste of time.
And it's hurting us because the Democrat Party is in shambles right now. If you heard some of the conversations, and I can't share them, I wish I could, but the Democrat Party is in shambles. This is one reason why I go to Tallahassee too, because I get all the tea from the other side. Is that they're looking to put some local people that are in Palm Beach County in leadership positions within the Democrat Party. So if those Democrats do not get elected, then they're really going to be scrambling. So
we have some key races to try to win?
Yes. Yes. One, 2 is our Congress seats. So keep that in mind. And
redistricting is going to make that a whole moot point anyway.
Correct. And so you are going to see crazy money coming into Palm Beach County for these congressional races. And
which is then going to trickle down to the locals, isn't it?
Yes.
Or yeah.
So they're going to try to hold on. Now, Nikki Fried does a great job for the Republican Party.
She's the best asset we've ever had. She's better than all the Republicans that are in the REC. She's doing more for the Republican Party than the chair of the REC is right now in Palm Beach County. And yes, I said that. Fire me. You cannot fire me. I work for free. I cannot be fired.
That's hilarious. But very,
accurate, Jessica. Just say it's accurate.
It's accurate. So the chairman of the RPOF mentions, how awesome Nikki Fried is and those that don't know, Nikki Fried is the chair of the Democrat Party in the state of Florida. She is the
failed gubernatorial candidate for the Democrat Party.
Yeah, and so she, when she gets involved in races, Republicans win.
Glorious.
So it always works in our favor.
I think I haven't seen a lot of her X posts lately. I used to follow her on X just to see what she was doing and retweet it because it was so fun.
I love it when Evan Power trolls her. It's hilarious. Yeah. I die laughing. And speaking of, Evan Power is running for Congress District 2.
2 is way up there.
Yeah.
Bama, Georgia area.
He's gotten some key endorsements, so we're going to see how that plays out. I'm not sure if he can remain chair and run for that seat or be in that seat. So we're going to kind of see how that plays out. I guess there's a gray area. I did miss the RPOF quarterly, which was the weekend before Tallahassee, so I couldn't do both. So unfortunately, but I heard not a whole lot happened at the RPOF, so we didn't miss anything there. I guess except for Byron Donalds was there, and a couple of the other and Collins. There was a couple other gubernatorial.
I always think that's a funny word. I like saying it. Yeah, that's why I'm going to say it a lot. Gubernatorial, because it sounds so different than governor.
Yeah,
it's like senatorial. At least sounds similar to Senate or senator, but gubernatorial and governor. It's like a B and a V thing, which is like a Hebrew thing, but not in English.
The English language is, quite interesting. At least I think we have an official language for the United States is now officially English. I think Trump signed that executive order.
Oh, good. Wow.
So,
great if our Congress ratified it into law.
Right. Exactly.
They did with a lot of his other executive orders. Otherwise, in a few years, who knows? Anyway, we don't talk national politics here.
True. Good point. And I'm trying to think, who else did I meet with?
I'm pretty sure I saw a picture of you guys with the top gov himself.
So funny story. Josie did not come with us, and there's a little group of us that have a group text together, and we call ourselves the Fab Four. So it's Josie and
Stop telling state secrets, Jessica.
And 2 other people. It's got to make sense.
Okay.
So I'm not saying all of the people who were in it, but so when
They all went to Tallahassee without me because
Yes.
I couldn't go because I have to go out of town next week for something else, and I couldn't go out of town 2 weeks. So back to back like that.
Right. So
do it.
we stopped for coffee because when we had lunch and wanted coffee, the waiter said the coffee here is shit, so don't have it. Go somewhere else. So we were like, all right. So we went to Starbucks and we hung out for a minute. And there was a tattoo parlor across the street. And I was like, hey, take a picture and send it to Josie that she's missing out on tattoos, you know, the Fab 4, but we could only do the Fab 3 tattoo because she wasn't here. And so then, thanks to our buddy AI, we put in Governor DeSantis in the picture and said, sorry, Josie, we found our fourth. And so when we were wasting time, we were ragging on Josie for not being there and missing out on the tattoo and being in a picture with Governor DeSantis, who was really not there. But did a great State of the State address. So I hope you, his State of the State address was really good. It
was funny though. I was laughing. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So we made sure that Josie had FOMO as much as possible.
Yeah, I really did. It was harsh.
Yeah, so it was a good time. We had interesting conversations with people and just kind of seeing what's going on. But really, I mean, it was all talk about taxes. It was just taxes. That's just what's on everybody's mind. And legislative session just got ramped up, so we'll start paying attention to some bills and finding out what's going on. What's going through the legislative process. But as always, our representatives and senators, we're so happy to just see us and know that we're there and talking with them. And
did anybody talk about redistricting?
No. Well, it's going to be part of the special session.
Session. So that's basically it's being pushed to that. Okay.
Correct. So there's a lot of talk. There is a lot of talk. There's more people that have gotten into the Congress races. And so CD 22 got, let me see if I can pull up the list here because.
And I'll give our usual caveat. Normally in this show, we don't really talk about congressional districts, but being that they are going to be very pivotal here in the county this year, we are going to be talking about them a little bit more, I think, in this coming cycle, especially with redistricting being specifically for the congressional districts and the impact that could have then trickled down on our local elections. So just to kind of caveat that we're not deviating from our mission. We're really just kind of tying it into how it will impact us here locally because redistricting is a local thing. It is a state thing that's decided, and it will impact us strongly. So just kind of throw that out there as our caveat that as we talk about these congressional districts, that's why.
Yeah. So hold on one second. I didn't think to pull it up beforehand, so I apologize.
Come on, Jessica. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. Right? I feel so I have resigned from my full-time, well, I didn't have a full-time job. But
your day job?
My day job. I've kind of officially resigned, but I have the caveat of me being able to leave was I needed to hire and train my replacement. So I've been kind of, I've been training my replacement the last couple of days. So my head is like instead of just doing the work, I've actually had to stop and explain the work. So it's like
so much extra
taken way much more brain power the last couple of days than I had anticipated.
While you're pulling that up, did anybody talk about James Fishback up there?
No, actually, not at all.
He's
not even like
bleep on the radar. Yeah. I don't know. Somehow I'm getting a lot of his stuff on my feed. Probably clicked on his name once just to see who he was. But as Florida governor, I will mandate that all public school students come to school wearing a uniform. You want to know what the uniform is going to be? For boys, a white polo, khakis, and a belt. For boys. Boys.
You do not want a boy in a white shirt.
For girls, knee-length dresses or pantsuits.
So my question for that is who's going to pay for those uniforms?
He said that they're going to give a credit of $250 to every family, which is not enough to buy a full week's worth of uniforms.
Yeah.
For the record, especially of white shirts and khaki bottoms. And then the girls, knee-length dresses. This dude is out to freaking lunch, man. Every time so his thing's popping up on my X feed a lot, and every time I see it, it's some outlandish, insane thing that he wants to do. He also wants to charge $50,000 for people to extra in taxes for people who move from New York to here, which in theory sounds wonderful, except for that's not legal.
I'm like, it sounds like a Yellowstone cat.
Yeah, you can't really do that. Like, that's not how this works. It's
right?
just anyway. He's highly entertaining and a little cuckoo bananas. So I was just curious if he was being discussed at all.
No, didn't hear anything actually at all. And why am I not finding the FEC website? Hold on. Here we go.
Ooh, James Uthmeyer posted that he's proposing that Florida's legislature narrow the insanity defense because it's being loopholed with a lot of terroristic activity.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep. Let's see what else. You guys should follow us on X because we repost a lot of things. So follow us on X where we will talk about all the things.
My computer's being a little slow.
What are you trying to find?
I want to see who has. It's not. I don't want the state site. I want the federal.
Oh,
site.
the federal site.
And I don't look so often on the federal site. See if I just put in Florida. See if it lets me search that way. Nope. Just brings me pack information. Let's see, where else can I find this? I do believe that, I think there is a candidate forum tonight, or is it tomorrow night? Hold, please. I'll tell you.
Candidate forum for who?
For CD22. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I feel like I'm taking forever over here. I apologize.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Let me think. Do I have any fun stories? No. I mean, yes. I mean, no. I mean, things are. I'll talk about like Boca for a second because that's one of my fun topics on the show. Yeah, I got 2 mailers from one Boca, which are supporting. So there's an organization supporting the downtown development. The redevelopment project. So I got a text message. They are ramping up their promotion of voting yes for the downtown development, which will be on the Boca ballot on March 10th, which I find interesting. And then I got, of course, a text from Andy, Councilman Andy, telling me that he's voted no on all of these projects, but he's never mentioned once that he's also being supported by the other developer that didn't get their bid taken. That the city council went with a different bid, a more local and a better bid for the project, and he supported the other bidder, but then claims that he didn't support any bid, like doesn't want it at all, but he's also being supported for his candidacy by that other bidder. So the scuttlebutt or the rumor is that once he gets elected, he'll bring in that other bidder back.
And he's shady like that.
Oh yeah, he's shady AF.
He resigns his seat to run for something better. He's done it 3 times now. This is the 3rd time.
Second time he's resigned. Right? He resigned to run for
against Peggy,
and then he's resigned to run, and then he ran for and got this seat. Now this is his second time resigning to run for another seat.
Right.
But he's run 4 times because he ran once and lost. Then he ran and got elected. Then he resigned and ran again and got elected. And now he's running for mayor.
Yeah. And my big thing is that he acts like a Republican. He looks like a Republican, but he is not a Republican.
He's a leftist. He's a Democrat, hardcore leftist. And I will say this until I'm blue in the face all day, every day. And it doesn't matter what he tells you.
He is not moderate.
He's not moderate. He is a Democrat, and he will follow Democratic policies.
The next best thing. Like, this is just another stepping stone. He'll be mayor. You know, if he was to win and become the mayor of Boca, he's going to turn around and resign for, state house or Congress or whatever.
He might. I will bet. Let's see. When does Peggy term out?
After this next
So 2028, she can't run again, right? She runs again now.
So it's 4 2-year terms.
Right. So she won first in 22. She won again in 24. When she wins again now, and then she'll win in 28. So 2030, she's out.
Yeah.
So if Andy gets elected, what are we in 2026? If he gets elected to mayor, and then it's a 3-year term, he gets reelected in, let's just say for grins and giggles, he gets reelected in 29. I guarantee you he will resign and run for that seat.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
That's the only option he has, really, because especially with redistricting, he won't be able to do much else.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just
hopefully he's not.
maybe county commission.
Oh, God.
I know, but he could. That's what he would do. He'll resign because that's 28. No, that's 30 also. That's 30 also. Because they got elected the same year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
That's crazy.
That's down the road. Who knows what'll be happening by then?
So if you're watching this and this episode is dropping on the 22nd, there's a candidate forum on the 22nd. So
It's too late.
It's too late. So I hope to drop the episode by 6:30, but I doubt you'll be able to get there in time. But for the Republican candidates for Florida District 22, Congress District 22, there are 6 Republican candidates.
Holy moly. Let's name them. Let's go.
So you have
Francis.
So you have Dan Francis that just jumped in this last week.
Oh, really? He waited this long?
Mm-hmm. And then you have Anna Meta.
Oh.
I can never say it.
Never say her name.
No. Metadeva. Metadeva?
Sorry, Anna.
Something like that. Anyway.
Ademi?
You have Deborah Ademi.
Third time's a charm.
Steve Crowley.
I don't know who that is.
Antonio Serrato and David Burke just jumped in the race this week.
Who's David Burke?
David Burke is actually a young guy, and he's in real estate, but he was actually really big in Turning Point. And so he has a young family here in Palm Beach County, and he...
Where does he live? Do you know?
Like West Palm.
So, excuse me. You don't have to live in your district, right, to represent it?
No. You
So-
just have to live there once you win.
You have to
But
live
he
there.
lives in the district.
Well, because what I'm saying is because if and when redistricting happens, this whole thing,
Oh, yeah, it could change.
like that.
Yeah.
And it'll be quick because the redistricting map probably won't go into effect until May.
Yep.
And qualifying is the beginning of June.
Yep.
Middle of June.
June
beginning.
12th.
June 12th.
Well, for Congress, it may be different.
No, I'm pretty
actually.
sure it's the same. I think
Is
I
it
looked
the
it
same?
up. I feel like I looked it up. I can't remember, though. So if you want to look to confirm, but I feel like I looked. That's scary. I feel like I did look this up.
It is a little scary, but it's like so you have 6 candidates already in CD22. Lois Frankel does have a Democrat challenger actually this time.
Is it Ehrenberg or someone else?
No, it's somebody else. So I did. So I think I mentioned Dave Ehrenberg the last time that he was rumored to run. So that rumor was absolutely true, but he has decided not to run. So
he was considering it.
he
It just
really
did not-
was
he just
seriously considering it. Yeah. So I have a feeling that as the way that the district stands right now, Lois would be favored to win. So I don't think he would get into that until possibly the next cycle. Lois is definitely, I heard Lois is definitely running. She's going to be in the race.
If redistricting happens, he might have a chance. I wonder what her stronghold precincts are.
Maybe.
Interesting.
It
I'm not going to analyze the Democrat data. Sorry.
Yeah. So, so that's very interesting. And then it's like we have like 6 candidates for CD23, which I can't remember.
Our
all of the-
illustrious mayor, Scott
Scott
Singer.
Singer who's the current mayor of Boca Raton, that his term ends. So
Thank God.
he is running for CD District 23. I think he is banking on redistricting to move that it's going to move the district.
He's the only
north.
Boca candidate that I know of.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you have George Moritas, which is, he's more of a Breyer candidate. He was the chair of the Broward REC for like 3 years. So he has a heavy Republican presence in Broward. So if the district changes, that could hurt him.
And Kaufman too.
And Joe
But
Kaufman.
Joe did move here. Doesn't he live in Boca now?
I think so. And, he was able to pull out the Boca section of, the last cycle. So it may not hurt him as bad, but it won't help him.
No, it won't help him. I mean, it might. So you have to remember, you mean in the general or do you mean in the primary?
General.
So I think that the redistricting is going to make it a safe red district. So I think really the question is going to be the primary. Yeah. Who's going to win the primary, and will his name recognition in Boca be enough to win Boca Del Rey? Because I think the district is going to shift to go up into Del Rey.
I think it's going to probably
be the Boca line at Broward.
They might.
West Boca. I think it's gonna be similar to like which is it, the school board district? I think it's the school board district that's almost like a rectangle
for
Gloria Branch's district, because it's West Boca and East Boca. But I mean, it's gonna be higher. I think it's gonna go higher. I think it's gonna probably look a lot like a rectangle. That's my guess. I don't know, unless they scudge it to go up the coastline.
I think that they're going to move it up because you got to think about it. Right now, Lois has a stronghold because of the fact...
The blue wall.
The blue wall. So if you push it where it goes more north, you pick up way more red districts. She'll keep the blue wall, but...
Push what?
The District 22, the northern part.
If you push the northern part of 22 higher,
yeah,
right,
you're gonna make it more red,
and you're gonna cut. I think they're gonna cut it. The blue wall is Delray Boynton. I think they're gonna cut it at Delray Boynton and put Boynton up and Delray down, and that then gets absorbed into the red up and the red down. That's
right, because if you paid attention to how our party affiliations and stuff are coming into Palm Beach County, is that you have a real red district at the south and you have a real red district to the north.
And you have red along the coast.
And you have red around the coast, and most of the west is purple. So it's like if you go and if you start to, then this was kind of the whole thing, that Josie and I have been involved in as far as like the political work and everything that we do and helping candidates get elected, is pushing the red district more into the central part, which is like the Boynton Delray area, as she's talking about. Well, more, like Boynton and a little bit north, is that it's going to squeeze into that central area. So if you cut that central area in half, the Democrats lose all their power.
Right. I think that's if you cut Delray Boynton, because right now Delray Boynton are like a block when it comes to District 90, when it comes to District 22, CD 22, when it comes to school board, when it comes to county commission. So this redistricting isn't going to affect those other races, but it will because it's only going to be congressional districts that get redistricted. Correct. So, but that means that if this goes well and works in 2030, when we do another statewide redistricting, there could be some shaken up.
Yeah.
We'll see. It depends, because each governing body, which I find so screwed up, that each governing body gets to pick their own districts, decide their district. I feel like they should swap. I feel like they should be like, all right, commission and school board, you guys do each other's districts, and then state house and state senate, you guys do each other's districts. I don't think the people who are representing should get to just draw the maps. Just feels like a little bit of a conflict of interest, in my opinion.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I feel like that's weird.
I had no idea that the school board picks their own districts.
They all do.
So Daniel told us that, and then I realized. I guess it was just something I never really thought about, because it was like, there was a vote on the county commission. I want to say the first December meeting or something, where there was a small district in Century Village, or not a district, a precinct in Century Village that split the county commission. So it was like one little section of Century Village was under
district. It's 4 and 5.
No, District 2. and 7. It's 2
Oh,
and
is it 2 and 7?
So one precinct was 2 and the rest was 7, or vice versa. I can't remember which one it was. But so that little section of Century Village realized that they had a different county commissioner than the rest of Century Village. So when they had an issue in Century Village, it got really confusing on which commissioner was, that they should be talking to and who had the authority to do anything.
Hot mess express.
So they actually asked to have that precinct part of the bigger district. So whichever it was, the one that had the most part of Century Village. And then Commissioner Weiss and Commissioner Powell were like, that makes sense to take, to not split that Century Village because it's its own community. And so, and then it makes it confusing, for like voting and all that kind of stuff.
You have to have a whole process in place for that. It's from the electoral side.
So during that meeting, it was brought up that if we redistrict, we're only supposed to redistrict every 10 years. If we redistrict this, what's to not cause, us to just redistrict because we just want to in the future?
It goes against the charter.
Well, right. But this was a question that was brought up of if we start messing around with these kind of things and we just vote, to say, okay, this is, and I think they voted to do it, but there was some concern and some healthy debate going back and forth about, is it worth it to do it now? Because is it going to set a precedent in the future that you could just change it? And so, then it was very clear that they vote on their redistricting, their maps.
They all vote on their own maps, which I find to be.
Which I didn't realize with the county commission either, that the county commission.
Which is why you get, that's how they've gotten these funky, weird districts, because they basically are like, oh, well, this district needs a Hispanic representative, so let's carve the district to include as many Hispanic neighborhoods as possible. And this district needs an African-American representative, so therefore let's carve this. That's why it's like that, is because they decided, they went through this DEI process a while ago, long time ago, and we're like, well, we need to have equal representation of all of the different communities, as opposed to it just saying, no, here's where people live. People are Americans. We're all Floridians. We're all Palm Beach Countyans. Carve the district according, and everyone gets an equal share.
Right.
And that is how it should go. And I think I'm going to advocate when we go to redistricting in 2030, after the census, that's what happens, because I feel like this whole they give them their special. No. You then get to fight for the vote of the people, regardless of what your skin color is, regardless of what your ethnicity is, and regardless of what mine is. You fight for my vote, and then you fight for me. And I shouldn't feel because then what that does, sorry, last little bit on that rant, because then let's say because not that the entire district is not 100% Hispanic, it's not 100% black. So then the people who are not those, how do they feel represented on the commission? Because, this is a black district, so therefore we have to have a black commissioner. And do they represent what I want, or are they only going to represent what the black community wants? Right,
and just because of the color of their skin doesn't mean
and I would say this about anyone. I don't want a Jewish commissioner.
It's like just
because they represent my Jewish community.
Yeah.
No.
And then there's no say that they'll actually represent the Jewish community there either, just not because they're close. On the dais.
I'm pretty sure that Marcy has a much better relationship with the Jewish community than Bob ever had, who's Jewish. Pretty sure that's...
I think you're right.
Pretty sure that's the case, and she's not.
Yeah.
So... it doesn't matter. You want someone who's going to...
You just want good representation no matter where it is, and, that...
It's so un-American.
Right?
Makes me... Sorry, I'm on a little bit of a rant tonight.
And especially here in Palm Beach County, it's like the underprivileged or the underserved. And I'm like, I'm sorry, do you know how much money we pay for libraries? Your local library has computers and you can find all of the information.
Oh, I know all the homeless like my library in Boca.
To do, you can, get a driver's license, all of these services are easy to come by. That there is absolutely no underprivileged people in Palm Beach County.
Unless they're choosing to be.
Right. That can't get a driver's license and get a voter ID card to be able to vote for who represents them. So,
Yeah. So, how did we get on this?
I don't know.
There was a point that we were going with this.
Well, we're talking about candidates and how Scott Singer jumped into the race and how it's going to change redistricting for CD22 and CD23.
Yes.
So this candidate forum, I do think I'm going to be able to attend tomorrow night. I don't see why not. So hopefully I'll be able to report back on how that was.
I will be at the South Florida Fair.
And we also have the candidate forum in Boca, which is
Yes.
January 29th. That is going to be recorded. However, we don't know where it's going to be linked. So I'm going to try to get a recorded of that.
I think he said Channel 20 is going to be airing it. I think.
Maybe.
And then that would
Because
be
I asked if it was going to be recorded. He said, yes, I get the thumb drive as soon as it's over. I don't know what to do with it. So I may get a copy of that thumb drive and put it on our channels so that we can at least make sure that if those who want to watch it have the opportunity to watch it from at least an online platform. So I'm going to see if I can get a copy of that and put it on our channels so people can watch. So, and then I will find out if they are recording this one tomorrow night and see if I can get a copy of that as well. So pay attention to candidate forums that are going on. Make sure that you're asking questions if you have the ability to do so. I think that that's really important, and it doesn't matter who's hosting it. You know, you have these are nonpartisan races, and so who is it? The League of Women's Voters is doing one for Palm Beach Gardens. I don't remember the date.
Well, they usually do one for Boca.
Yeah,
I did one with them.
And so if you look, if Palm Beach Gardens is having a candidate forum, check into that and, watch that because that's going to be an interesting race too. I think I spoke about that a little bit before Palm Beach Gardens. There's one very crazy candidate for one seat, and then there's actually a normal Republican. So we just have to make sure that people know the difference.
Vote normal people.
What a concept! Like normal people, like you and me, like
no, because we don't run.
Right. well, you did, Josie.
I know, but
and you may again in the future.
It'll be a while. It'll be a while before that happens. Only if the people demand it.
We demand Josie.
I'm just kidding.
I'll start a movement.
I need a nanny who
we'll
can homeschool.
We'll make that part of campaign finances somehow.
I need a homeschool nanny. School my children.
So there's, we've talked about that, Palm Beach County is just going to get a lot of attention. It's just the way that it is. And so
our president lives here.
Yeah.
We get foreign dignitaries here constantly.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a lot of eyes and ears watching and finding out how this plays out in Palm Beach County. And I think it's going to be very interesting how the primary process plays out. And as I kind of talked about earlier, I'll kind of go back to that a little bit about how that, the party doesn't pick the primaries, the voters do. And so when you have really good precinct committee men and women in the party, they will pick their favorite candidate, and then they will work hard to help get that candidate elected. Mm-hmm. And they do that not from an REC standpoint or, in their official capacity or role. They do that because they found a candidate that fits their views, that they want to represent them, and then they work personally to help that candidate get elected through the primary process. So if you see REC members, pushing a certain candidate, that does not mean that all Republicans Republicans are supporting that candidate.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. So they may say like, oh, that's our precinct committee person in our, in our thing. And they may be handing out, candidate palm cards or whatever. But that doesn't mean that the party is pushing that candidate. And like Josie said, the party usually does a pretty good job of saying like, okay, this is when the election is, and here are the Republican candidates. Usually if there's more than one, and they'll list them out. It's your job to do the education and find out if, which candidate fits your views the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to add, a little off topic, but the South Florida Fair is going on. So go check it out. It's always a fun time. This year, the theme is pirates.
Oh.
So I have some very excited children because we find pirates very fascinating, because pirates were the first Republicans, really. The true story of the pirates was they were the first to have a Republican-style government on their boats, and it was one man, one vote. If they didn't like the captain, they could vote him out, and it was equality. And they were that's one reason they were so hated by the British government, was not just because of them stealing from them, but because they were not following the hierarchy of the British Navy in the way that ships were considered to be ships. Now, I'm not excusing the things that pirates did. That's not what I'm saying. But their structure,
clarification.
Just to clarify, but their structure of government, they basically were like, and there are some of our, they kind of helped instigate and bring that over into the side of the world with some of that one vote, one person, one vote, one man, one vote. And it doesn't matter if they had been born at what birth, the way the British Navy did it. So anyway, sidebar.
So speaking of pirates, we spent, what was that? Monday night. We watched the national championship game at the Pirates Well. The Pirates Well is in North Lake off of alternate A1A, just north of North Lake. And that is now owned by our state committee woman, Jody Schwartz.
She owns a bar?
So they bought a bar. And
love that.
It's called the
Jody
Pirates
never
Well.
ceases to surprise me ever.
And it's amazing. The food was amazing. They had TV, 10 TVs. They had trivia. Like it was just a great time. So if you're looking for something to do on an evening, and they're open from 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. I think every day, 7 days a week.
That is far.
I think. Yeah, it's like 30 minutes for us, so it's not bad. So if you're interested in checking out a new location.
We should do Meet the We the Locals night there.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Come meet us. Come hang out with us. Come have a drink with the We the Locals.
Maybe
we can drag Abby out of retirement to come with us.
Ooh, that's a great idea. Maybe we'll put something together because I think, I think that would be awesome. She is talking about having some candidate and political events there, and because they have a big outdoor area. So I think it's going to be fun. Regardless, the food's great. Great drinks. So definitely check it out if you are able to. I think that's pretty much all that I have tonight.
It's pretty much all I have. Keep an eye. The vote by mail ballots will be dropping. Our next episode will be the first. We're doing sticking with the first and third, hopefully Thursdays of every month. So I don't think we have any conflicts coming up. So look for our episodes there. And so by the time our next episode comes out, we'll only be a week away from the vote by mail ballots dropping for the municipals. So maybe we'll try to get a municipal candidate on or something, to chat with y'all. We'll see. We do have some guests that we are discussing that we have lined up. If you'd like to have a specific guest on, or you would like to be a guest on the show, you can let us know. We will mull it over, kick it around.
We will put it through committee and vote.
Put it through committee and vote. This is the committee. Stu doesn't get a vote. No, I'm just kidding. Stu doesn't want to vote.
Now he'd be like, I don't care.
Do we have a microphone? Okay,
Right,
then let's go.
Exactly. Where are you going to sit and where's the lighting? That's where that's going to go.
And we thank you very much for that, Stu.
Yes, absolutely. So, like I said, it's a little quiet right now because things are just kind of amping up, and we're going to kind of see what's going on pretty heavily in the next couple weeks after municipals. That is going to really ramp up because we're going to get into heavy duty into primary season, and we'll talk a little bit more about the primary process as things go along. So be sure to check us out on Instagram, X, and Facebook. We're We the Locals or We the Locals FL on all platforms. Check out our website, WeTheLocalsPodcast.com. You can find our sponsorship opportunities there. You can donate to us right there on the website. Our channel links are there, so you just click the channel and you can see all of our previous episodes on Rumble and or YouTube. You can email us at WeTheLocalsFL@gmail.com. Email us your questions, your concerns, anything that you want to let us know, anything that's happening, events, candidate events, please let us know. We'll be happy to share all of that information with voters. So the more that we're informed, the more that we can inform you. So help us keep the lights on and send us a couple donations if you wouldn't mind. We'd greatly appreciate it. This is self-funded, and we do everything on our own. So without sponsorships, we kind of cut the cost. We absorb all of the costs to make sure that we're giving you as much good content and good information going around Palm Beach County as possible. So thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Happy January, and have a great night, everybody, and be sure to stay local.
Go Broncos.
Bye.
Bye. Couldn't resist.